Most importantly, I would just say yes to more things. Hi, I'm Erin. I've just finished my first year reading Land Economy at the University of Cambridge, and these are 5 things about my first year that I would have done differently if I had the chance to start all over again, go back and do everything with the knowledge that I have now. I am going to be excluding choosing the wrong degree from this list because I feel as though not a lot of people are in that situation, but essentially I had applied and had won a place to study economics, and I studied economics for about 4 weeks before swapping into Land Economy, and that is a separate thing that I can make a video on if you want, but here are 5 things that are probably applicable to you that you should be thinking about if you are going into first year, or if you're going into second year, or if you're not even thinking about university yet but you just want to watch this video. This is what I would have done differently. First of all, I'm going to start with something study focused, and that is I should have been making materials right from the get-go, because I think I was a bit messed up from swapping courses that meant that I was sort of lacking 4 weeks worth of materials having not been to those lectures. But I then didn't really catch up as well as I think I should have. So that meant that when Easter term came and I had all my exams, I was having to make study materials whilst revising for the exams, which is not an ideal position to be in at all. So I think what I'm going to be taking forward, and what I wish I had done in first year, is during a lecture I should be making notes that are more applicable to the final examination. So rather than trying to literally write down everything your professor says, which can be super, super tempting because it's probably the first time I've been taught in a lecture style environment, you feel like everything they say is completely valuable, which it is, they're saying really useful things, but you've got to be able to sit there and distill that information into only the most important parts, and then that should be what you're writing down. And then if you take half an hour after every lecture, for example, to just make sure those notes make sense, make sure you've corrected any typos, fill in any gaps, because obviously once you're sat there, things might be making more sense. But when you look back to it in a couple of months, you might want some of the gaps filled in a little bit more. So I think just making sure that I'm making notes. And this year, so last year I made all my notes on Pages, which was great. However, this year I'm going to be using Notebook LM a lot more. So recently I went to this Gemini creators event, which was really interesting, but they basically showed me exactly how Notebook LM kind of works, and I tried using it, and oh my goodness, it works amazingly. So I am going to make some videos on sort of how I integrate AI into my studying processes in ways that are not just cheating, but I think I'm going to be utilising more of those applications to help me inquire with my notes, so to use them in a much more active way than just reading over them. The second thing that I wish I had done is, prior to joining, I wish I had taken more of a look at the clubs and societies that were actually on offer. Now, for pretty much every university, you can find this on their student union page. They will have a list of all the societies that are registered with the student union. You'll be able to go through them, and I think inevitably you're going to have the freshest stage of going around and signing up for absolutely everything and then not really going to many of those things, which is so fine. But you I think it would be nice to have a bit more guidance. So if you know, for example, you want to pick up a new sport, you can have a look on the website and think, okay, what sports are available? What suits my skills? What do I think I would actually enjoy doing? Similarly, if you're thinking, I want to just do some new societies, yes, it helps to see the people and to make sure you gel with them, but if you just have a scan over the list of clubs and societies, at least you have more of an idea of what to look out for at Freshers' Fair, for example, because you might be a bit annoyed if midway through first year you realise there's a society that you wish you had joined, but because you didn't see them or you didn't necessarily happen to walk past engaged at Freshers' Fair, you just didn't know existed properly. Now, this is tied into clubs and societies, and it is, remember that it is never too late to start. I had this weird inhibition that past the middle of the first term, it was too late to start something new, which is so weird because the default is then I'm going to be starting something new at the start of second year rather than 4 weeks into university, which is not a long time at all. I think you do need to get out of the mindset of oh, I didn't pick it up right from the get-go, so therefore it's going to be awkward for me to integrate into the group. Going to university anyway, people are put in quote-unquote awkward situations because they're going to go to things where they just don't know anyone. And that is completely fine, but you've just got to put yourself out there, which I know is a lot more than just putting yourself out there. It takes a lot to be able to do it, but I think the rewards are so worth it from trying something different, from just integrating yourself with a new group of people. I think that if you can overcome that bit of an inhibition where, oh, I'm not doing it right from day one, I'm not going to the first taster session, I'm not doing, I've not been there from the very beginning, you're going to have a lot more fun if you're able to just join things as and when you want. I made a video on TikTok about some of the things that you should be buying for university that are generally neglected on sort of university buy this lists. And two things that I think I regret: one, not buying earlier; two, not buying at all. Firstly, I regret not buying a heated blanket earlier, because your accommodation will get cold. Unless your building is massively heated, was built in the last 20 years and has impeccable plumbing, it's going to get cold, especially if you have quite large windows, which I was in quite a new build for Cambridge standards, but it was freezing in winter, and I let it go about 2 weeks of waking up in the middle of the night feeling freezing before I finally got a heated blanket, and that solved a lot of my worries. It was one of the best things that I have ever purchased. So do yourself a favour and get yourself a heated blanket before it gets to the middle of winter and they're all sold out everywhere. If you get them now in the middle of a summer heat wave, they're going to be a lot cheaper. So that is the first thing. The second thing, I did not buy at all in first year, but I've already basically got down to buy in second year. That is an air fryer. Because I thought that I'd be going to the Butcher or the cafe a lot more, but then I realised I don't really want to spend £5 every time I want to have something to eat. So I then started cooking a few more meals. I was using the microwave way too much. This time I want to be able to have some of my favourite things, which are things like salmon, nice chicken. If I put them in the air fryer, it's going to be a lot easier. But a great way of doing this, I think, is don't buy it right now. Wait until you know who your flatmates are, people on your staircase, and just coordinate with them and see who wants to get an air fryer with you, and then you can use it together, but it also means you can split the cost. Now this is again a bit more on socials, and it's probably slightly more personal to me, but I feel as though people go to university, and because you see people face to face a lot, anyway, and a lot of people I know, you sort of forget to message because you're going to see them that week anyway, so it kind of feels a little bit awkward. But I think getting better at that to just sustain those relationships a bit longer, it can become a good thing to be able to do. So those are some of the things that I would be doing differently if I had the chance to redo first year. If you're off to university this year and you do have any questions whatsoever, let me know in the comments, and as ever, I will see you in the next video.